All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for 9 minutes with me on IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube. You know the deal. It's Friday. I'm here at Rosie's Corner. Come on down for the Fish Friday. You can get it with the mac and cheese or pair it with the coleslaw and the French fries. Everything is so delicious here. The menu, it's nonstop. The appetizers, the shrimp, fried shrimp. You can get the burgers. You can get hot and cold subs, pizza wing combos, and more. And if you're getting those wings, remember, garlic parm. Make sure you try those and get desserts to go. They've got the salads and the refreshments in the cooler as well. Rosie's Corner is a proud sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. So I wanted to have a little bit of fun here for this particular segment and give you my my lifetime, not all-time, but my lifetime Syracuse basketball team by position. Now, it's easy for a lot of people to say, well, my all-time team would have Carmelo, Derek Coleman, John Wallace, and have no centers, right? And just pick Pearl and pick Sherman. But you got to go position by position in terms of a basketball roster. And again, this is my lifetime. So I was born in 1979, started really becoming a Cuse diehard when I was 6, 7-ish years old. Was heartbroken like everybody else when Keith Smart made the shot in New Orleans in 87 after Coleman missed the free throw. Ever since I've been very, very lucky to kind of work in the market and cover the team and been around some unbelievable teams, unbelievable players, and Boeheim and the staff. And covered the Big East tournament multiple times, covered a bunch of NCAA tournaments, and still rocking and wearing the cap here as I do these segments. So, again, this is basically from when I started as a diehard fan from about 86 until now in every single capacity. It's about winning. It's about legacy. It's about impact on the program. It's about impact on the Big East or the ACC. It's about the greatness of the career and a little bit of personal preference as well. So my point guard it's a slam dunk. It's Sherman Douglas. He's my favorite player in Syracuse basketball history, but I think Sherman is also a little bit underrated too, because when you think about it, Pearl Washington was the ultimate impact player in Syracuse history. Remember Jim Boeheim telling the story for a long time about when he was flying to California and he was walking through the California airports and people said, "You're Pearl's coach." That was when he knew that Pearl Washington had a remarkable impact. But what about the guy who followed Pearl Washington out of the D.C. area? It was Sherm, and he was dynamic. I mean, you talk about the passing through the legs, up high, the Stevie Thompson to alley-oops, etc., Derek Coleman and the like. Sherman was a special guy, and he could get to the hole. He was a great, the general was his nickname. He was a great half-court guy. He could push the tempo, and he was actually a lot better defensively than people think. I've got Sherman Douglas in there as my lifetime point guard, and remarkable to think about how he, Billy Owens, and Derek Coleman played on a team that didn't reach a Final Four together or win a national championship. But that just goes to show you the crapshoot of the NCAA tournament. That was back in the day, of course, when players were staying late as well. My shooting guard is actually Jerry McNamara, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, wait a minute, he played so much point guard because of the departure of Josh Wright and how that shit show was taking place with him and Billy Edelin before that. But the reality is Jerry was recruited here to play the two. I mean, he was here to be a straight-up shooter off the ball and the like. He was not recruited here to be a point guard, but did have to play some point guard. But he played still a lot of shooting guard as well. And to me, Jerry McNamara, when you talk about the winning Mount Rushmore in Syracuse history, nobody won more than Jerry McNamara. Freshman, shooting guard on the championship team, the epic three-pointers against Kansas in the first half, the epic game against BYU the year afterwards, getting to the Sweet 16 after Carmelo left. You think about carrying Syracuse on the old proverbial shoulders or back, whatever you want to call it, willing the team to 2 Big East tournament championships when they were probably a bubble team to begin with. The shot making against Georgetown, Cincinnati, Connecticut, etc. On down the line. McNamara from Pennsylvania. The bus loads that would come up during the wintertime to go to the games. The unbelievable last game against Villanova. I was there for that one, covering it. McNamara is an all-time Syracuse dude, man, and I would not be surprised if Jerry McNamara hangs on the staff long enough. He is promoted right away to be the next head coach at Syracuse, and they try to work a little bit in, much like Gene Wojciechowski could have been, the next head coach at Duke, but he left to get some experience smartly at Marquette and the like. But I would not be surprised to see McNamara as a lifetime Syracuse Orange guy, much like the next Jim Boeheim, player, assistant, head coach, etc. Jerry's in there at number 2. My small forward, this one's a little difficult, believe it or not. There's been so many that I have loved watching and have just been so lucky to see, but I have to take Carmelo Anthony. I mean, Carmelo Anthony coming to Syracuse, well, we can talk about Jerry, we can talk about the terrific team, the role players, and Grandpa Queth Duaney and, the dual centers and the like. The depth on that team. Carmelo Anthony in 1 year did more than anybody's done in 4 years as a player, or longer than that, maybe as a coach. I mean, if they don't get Carmelo here, they probably don't have a national title above all the rest, and that's not to discredit his teammates that year of the championship. But my God, Carmelo, you've got to be kidding me. 33-14 against Texas in the national semifinal and the Final Four in New Orleans. You think about all the unbelievable games he had during the year at the Big East. You think about the amazing first game at the Garden against Memphis in a losing cause, going to Michigan State and winning on the road. That was when I knew Syracuse was real deal Holyfield that year. And then, of course, the undefeated Big East record. You talk about the tournament, putting him on his back during the game against Oklahoma State when they were down. You talk about the incredible play against Oklahoma. And then, obviously, doing enough against Kansas as well, against a team that had multiple NBA guys. My lifetime small forward is Carmelo. Now that I think about it, it's probably not as close as I thought. You think about Billy Owens and some of the other players that I've seen, but it's Carmelo. My power forward all time, DC, man. Derek Coleman for sure, one of the greats in Syracuse history. Was a part of that 87 national runner-up. And, Billy Owens, I just mentioned him, but Derek Coleman as well was an up-and-down guy and a prototypical NBA guy, actually, of today. Now, we saw that back in the day with the Charles Barkleys and guys running up and down the floor in college, left and right, where you could go up and down. You could play defense. You could go inside, outside. You could play at the rim, dunk the ball and rebound, or you could step away and hit a little mid-range jump shot. Derek Coleman was a prototypical NBA guy, much to the reason why the New Jersey Nets took him number 1 overall in 1990, because that was the way the league was starting to go, right? It was the long, lean, versatile power forward, small forward really slash no position basketball that we see today. Derek Coleman today, he might play the 2 for a little while, right? And Derek Coleman back then could play a little 3, play a little 4, or even slide down and play a little 5 if you had an injury situation or an emergency. But at Syracuse, gosh, what I would do is see Derek Coleman play one more game, man. And those old Big East games against Georgetown and UConn and Villanova, Coleman was special and was just a remarkable, dominant force. And to this day, I have so much respect for him as a player and a lot of the things that he's done post-Syracuse and post-NBA career. Give me DC all day at the 4 spot. As far as the center position goes, I don't have tons to choose from. Obviously, you get a Arinze Onuaku as a choice and some others. Through the years, I did not live through the Roosevelt Bowie era, which I'm sure I would take Rosie. He's also a friend of mine. If I had, for me, it's Etan Thomas, and Etan Thomas was a special talent. You talk about, in my opinion, the all-time best shot blocker in Syracuse history, Big East Defensive Player of the Year type guy, and you talk about an ultimate growth guy in the program. Is there anybody who got better from freshman year to his last year at Syracuse than Etan Thomas? This guy was remarkable, and I remember watching him in the gang, Ryan Blackwell and Jason Hart, that terrific 2000 team that I wish they played St. Bonnie in the second round. They beat Samford and then beat Kentucky 52-50. That was the McGlure-Tayshaun Prince team in Cleveland. Ended up losing to the eventual champion Michigan State Spartans. But Etan Thomas was a huge part of that team. Unstoppable. The footwork got better and better. Rebounding, the hands, the block shots, and of course as an offensive force, and he got better away from the basket as time went on. So my lifetime Syracuse basketball team, of course, Sherman Douglas, Jerry McNamara, Carmelo Anthony, Derek Coleman, and Etan Thomas. I'll take that team, by the way, against most in college basketball in my time. Terrific stuff here at Rosie's. The Fish Friday is going on. Make sure you get your hot and cold subs, pizza, wings, pasta, everything you can imagine. Check them out on Grubhub, available on Facebook and on Instagram as well. Rosie's Corner, a proud sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. Don't forget, gift cards are available as well for any occasion. Jody and Jason, the gang, doing a great job. And hey, thanks for watching 9 Minutes with me, Mike Lindsley, IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube. And as I always tell you, whenever they get back in full, enjoy the games.